In the new year, as we transition from 2021 to 2022, I opined on social media how I was feeling really left out because so many other YouTube channels were showing off their list of the games they'd played in the year that had just been. You know, it's an arbitrary thing, but for some reason, January the 1st always seems to be the date that people show off their accomplishments of what had happened in the previous 12 months. People rarely do it at the end of February. But for the reasons I'm going to explain, I was a little bit mystified. I don't really keep a gaming diary. I wish I did. I bounce from title to title. I play what I feel like it, what I feel like researching, what I feel like experiencing. Every different video game can give you a unique experience. But what I wasn't doing was actually keeping track of which titles I've played in which year. Name a game, I'll tell you if I've played it. I'll tell you if I've played it seriously to an attempt to beat or just messed around with it. I'll probably even be able to give you a little bit of recall about some detail about what I thought of the game. I've got a really good analytical memory. You may not have noticed that as a critical component of this channel. I like remembering the details of stuff. It's the fun things I like to pull out. But what I'm useless of is putting things in order, putting things in a list. It's why there's been so few top 10 lists from my channel. I hate ordering things. I hate remembering. I hate putting things first and second, third. And what I also am useless at is remembering what happened first. I've got a vague idea of what games I played in 2021, but I honestly couldn't tell you which ones were definitely in 2021 and which ones maybe were in 2020, which ones maybe in 2019. It was recent. It was on the PlayStation 4, 5 or Switch, or emulated or whatever, but yeah, I'm not good at this, so maybe a diary would be a great thing. And I started looking around and I tried a few different websites out, and the one I've come to is what I think is the best gaming diary. I've set up an account on howlongtobeat.com. It's a fantastic little site that not only does it have completion times of all sorts of different games, it's actually a really good tool at looking at if you're interested in getting into a video game and you want to know how long it will occupy you for. A lot of people have uploaded their times there for just, getting to the end of the story, thorough completions, getting all the extras. It's actually a really interesting resource to look around. But it does mean I can put in what I'm playing and what I've beaten. And for me, beaten, I'm not a out-and-out completionist. I don't explore every nook and cranny. I actually have very few platinum trophies on any of my gaming accounts. But I can put in dates, and I've gone back through my PlayStation and other accounts, and even where I don't know the exact day, if I played it for the YouTube channel, I know the month. So I've got here the games I beat in 2021. I beat 39 video games. Wow, that's more than I was expecting. But wow. And it's a pretty even split. On average, I've been playing 2 or 3 games a month, beating 2 or 3 games a month, so this isn't a comment on how long any of them took to beat, with more in this latter half of the year than the first half, which is weird because it feels like I played much more in January to June than I did in June to December, but as I said, my memory for the order I did stuff in is all shot all over the place. And in terms of the consoles I've been playing on, that's a really mixed bag as well. 2 games for the Dreamcast, 3 games emulated. Really, I can definitely only count on back of my hand 1 of them that was definitely emulated. 3 of them on mobile, 1 for the GameCube, 3 for the Switch, 6 for the PC, 13 for the PlayStation 4, and 4 for the PlayStation 5. 1 on the Sega Master System, 2 for the Mega Drive, and 1 on the Wii U. Not much Xbox last year. I don't currently have an Xbox console to hand. But this is my chance. I thought I'd go through and just review 2021, a year in gaming. So, scores on the doors. A Plague Tale: Innocence, fantastic game. Got it when it was free with the PlayStation Online account for a month. Really, really enjoyed that. It's kind of like a historical version of The Last of Us. The story is more and less harrowing in very different ways to Naughty Dog's crowning glory, but I really liked Plague Tale: Innocence. Abzu, underwater sea diving adventure. Short, sweet, doesn't outstay its welcome, but I enjoyed every second of it. Astro's Playroom, that is the best selling point for the PlayStation 5 so far. For a free packing game, I adored this. Ayrton Senna's Super Monaco GP2, maybe that comes up as emulation, because I did actually emulate to record footage, but I've played it on the Mega Drive as well. It's old, it's retro, but I've got a lot of love for this game. It's a Formula 1 racing game from the very early 1990s, and if you've got any love for that kind of retro gaming, definitely check it out. Blue Stinger, Sega Dreamcast. This one I did emulate. That one is a Christmas horror game, survival horror, but it's nothing like Resident Evil. It's much more of a hack and slash survival horror. I enjoyed completing it. It was a chore and a half to do so though. Castle of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse. Yet completed in one day. It's a short, retro, old school platformer. This was Sega and Disney at their peak in platforming in the 1990s. Control Ultimate Edition. I must have finished this in January because I remember mostly playing it before Christmas last year. I adored Control. I had a lot of fun times with this. Dalek Attack. Oh, that's a very old video game. Retro. I played the PC version. I got some footage off online for the ZX Spectrum. If they could tone the difficulty down, I think there's actually a really nice platformer in here, but I actually used cheats to get through it. Divinity Original Sin 2, one of the best role-playing games I've ever touched. Went through on a co-op adventure, and it absolutely delivered in making that experience really memorable and unique. Doctor Who, The Edge of Reality. This was originally a VR game. They re-released it for the PlayStation 4, so you didn't need the VR headset. They added some extra levels. To be honest, the extra levels aren't brilliant, but it's always nice to play around with it. I think the peak of this is the bit with the weeping angels underneath the cellar underground where they're hunting you. But I rushed through that section. It was fine to mess around with. I think really VR is the way to play that, but I don't have a VR headset. Doctor Who The Lonely Assassins. This was a mobile game originally, but they released it for consoles, and I completed it in one night when it was raining and I was locked in on my own. I had a really good experience for a short budget title for a mystery, found phone mystery game. I quite liked it. Doom. This is the 2016 PS4 remake, reboot of the series, and it's brilliant first-person shooter action. What more is there to say? Hack and slash. Gotta love this game. Echo the Dolphin Defender of the Future. Now, this was a Dreamcast title. Echo as a franchise is a really difficult franchise to get your head around. It doesn't pull its punches, and I did utilise some cheat codes to get through some of the levels here. But I overall enjoyed it. Unfortunately, it's a bit of a time sink. You'll have to really be patient with this game if you're going to get anything out of it. Final Fantasy VII Remake. That Square Enix have done a fantastic job. I am scared about Episode 2 though, because actually I just want a remake of the original game, and I don't know if they're going to do that. Final Fantasy or the Bravest, mobile spin-off for the Final Fantasy franchise that just committed every cardinal sin. I played it for the YouTube channel, didn't spend a penny on it, hated a lot of the time anyway. It was fun for about 5 minutes. Incoming. I used to adore this when I first got a gaming PC, and before graphic cards were really a common thing, this would tax, this is from the first generation of graphics cards. It also came out on the Sega Dreamcast, so I went back and replayed it on the PC to celebrate Dreamcast month in November, coming out on YouTube in December. Mass Effect Andromeda. This is the last game I completed in 2021. I completed it pretty much like 21st, 28th of December. I completed it. I was determined to see through the story, but this game had annoyed me on so many levels. And then again, I didn't spend very much getting it secondhand. Metroid Dread, on the other hand, absolute perfection. That is one of my... I've got 3 contenders for Game of the Year. Metroid Dread is one of them. Near Reincarnation. Yeah, this is a better version of a mobile phone spin-off of a franchise. It's got Yoko Tara's writing in it, and Nier franchise is always interesting, but there was a lot of... I kind of just breezed through all the boss battles. The game goes through its gacha mechanics, but then it just gives you so much stuff to level up your characters that I just flew through it. Operation Tango, multiplayer online co-op on the PlayStation 5. Really fun experience, not very long, but I had a lot of fun. Pandemonium, early 2D/3D platformer from the Sega Saturn, Sony PlayStation era. Yeah, I enjoyed replaying it. Got very irritated though with a lot of cheap deaths. Panzer Dragoon, on the other hand, is from the same era. I played both the remake and the original version. I had a great time on both. It's not worth the full price tag. When they released the remake, they put a full price tag on it, and it's more of a budget title, but if you can get it cheap, I heartily recommend this. Persona 5. One of the best role-playing games ever made. So I've played 2 brilliant role-playing games, Divinity Original Sin 2 and Persona 5. They were both fantastic. Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time. Loved going back. There's meant to be a remake on the doors. It was imminent when I played the game. I thought I was playing the game before the remake came out, but it still hasn't appeared. I really enjoyed going back, and I will visit some of the other Prince of Persia games at some point. Rayman 3. I don't love Rayman 3 as much as I adore Rayman 2, but this was a really solid GameCube game. Resident Evil, I played both Resident Evil 7, Biohazard. I replayed that before then approaching for the first time Resident Evil Village. They're both fantastic games, but I much prefer Village. It's just so interesting. It does loads of different things of different horror genres. I do wish some of the sections were longer. The castle could have been a bit bigger. It felt like if they're going to make Lady Dimitrescu the figure of the game, she should have had more of a presence. She disappears far too early. But I adored Village. That is one of my other contenders for Game of the Year. And I also went back and I emulated the Game Boy Resident Evil Gaydon release, which is a weird spin-off for that franchise, but I had a lot of fun with. I put a lot of time into finishing Sonic Dash. I've unlocked every character on the mobile phone game. I'll be talking about that on the channel at some point. I did a co-op playthrough of Sonic Shuffle, completed the story mode. I've said before, this is a much maligned Sega Dreamcast game. If you can get 4 players with 4 controllers, it's brilliant, but the AI will screw you over otherwise. Sonic the Hedgehog 8-bit, I went back and recompleted the Master System version of the original Sonic the Hedgehog. It's, I think, the best 8-bit video game ever made. Fight me on it. Splatterhouse 3 I completed purely for the YouTube channel. Needed a Halloween style game. I actually went online and said to Twitter, can anyone recommend a game? And this was what someone said. They said go check out Splatterhouse series, and I'm really glad I did. Emulated because it never came out in the United Kingdom. Super Mario 64, completed it on the Switch with the re-release for Super Mario's 30th anniversary. It's Super Mario 64, it's a fantastic game. The Last of Us Remastered, went back and replayed that on the PlayStation 4, loved it. Thomas Was Alone, oh, that's a quirky indie 2D platformer I played on the Wii U. Had a great time with that. The 2013 remake of Tomb Raider. I've got some very complex thoughts on this title. It's overall an enjoyable game, and I think it is a good game for Lara Croft. I'm not surprised it sold very well. I don't think, however, if the goal of the Tomb Raider, it feels at times like it's trying to capture the magic that Nathan Drake and Naughty Dog had stolen with Uncharted, and then it makes some crucial missteps, so I'll get to that. Tomb Raider 2, the classic, played it on the PC, love those old games, love that franchise. Uncharted 4, I finally came back and completed A Thief's End. It's a good game, but it doesn't do anything really that justifies it over the original 3. I mean, I enjoyed it, I just don't understand why it's as long as it is. I kind of wish it was a shorter game. And Yinglet. This is a really, really weird game I played on Steam, pretty much on release, completed in one session. Maybe 2 sessions actually, but if you want to mess around in 3-dimensional space with weird control patterns, this is from a really nice developer. And there we have it. That is 39 games beaten in 2021. I had a fantastic year for gaming. I actually didn't play that many games. I didn't complete that many games that came out in 2021. I did dabble in some others. But in terms of games that were released that year that I adored, that I love, my game of the year has to be Metroid Dread in first and Resident Evil Village in second. The two of them were just a 1-2 punch of old classic franchises that I already have a lot of affection for, so I am biased. But doing new and interesting and exciting things and just showing how there's strength in these IPs and these solid ideas that you can build on and just do some great things with. And I'm now tracking, I only started doing this in the new year, I'm now tracking my games for 2022. So if any of you have an account on How Long to Beat, please do contact me on there. I'm going to be using it to track everything I play, whether I beat it or not from now on. And we'll see where we go from here.